Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Uma from West Couture, and today we'll be making this beautiful dress with this drawstring on the waistline with the pocket. If this is what you like to watch, please stay tuned to this channel. Thanks guys. Please like, share and subscribe to my channel. Hello guys. The kimono dress. The kimono dress is a dress that goes together with the sleeve without attaching the sleeve together. And on the waistline we'll be having a drawstring on the waistline. We'll be passing that through an eyelet. Okay, so you could actually see the video from the beginning of this video. Okay, so let's get to it. If you've not liked, shared and subscribed to my channel, please, what are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? So now let's get to it. Okay, I folded in such a way there will be no joining on the shoulders. There will be no joining on the shoulders. So I folded the fabric by the length of what I wanted, and I folded again. I first folded by fabric self edge to self edge, which is the factory edge, which is what you're seeing, and I folded by the length of the fabric. Okay, for the length of her dress is 59. Then whatever it is you're doing for a drawstring, always add +1, 1.5 plus 2. So I added 59 plus 2 to the length, so that by the time she pulls the drawstring, it will still remain at her actual length. So I added +2 to this, which is 61, plus my sewing allowance, which is 1.5, which is 62.5. Okay, so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to measure out the shoulder plus the sleeve length. You know it's a kimono, so whenever you're measuring a kimono, you have to start from the center back to wherever you want the sleeve to stop. So for hers, in that video, the sleeve stopped at around the elbow, so which is around 12 plus 8, which is her shoulder. Her shoulder is 16 divided by 2, so that's 20. And I'll be needing 2-inch sewing allowance for the sleeve part. Okay, so let's quickly get to it. So what I'm going to do is, in total I'm having 22. The measurement I just called out at 22 all the way down, from the center point all the way down. That would serve as the yardage of my fabric. So I'm going to measure out 22 from the midpoint. Okay, 22 all the way down. So I will do this quickly and come back to the video. I don't want this video to be too lengthy, so it doesn't get boring to us. Okay, this is 22 by the width. So I forgot to add, you know, some people, they have quite big hips, and by the time you're done doing the shoulder plus whatever and everything, this part might be smaller than the hip. In that case, you work with the person's hip measurements. If that person has a very big hip, okay, by the time you're done doing your division plus the excesses, you will notice that that person's hip is bigger than the person's shoulder plus sleeve allowance. So in that case, you make use of your hip measurement. But if not, I'm working with the hip 44, and you can see hip divided by 4, 44 divided by 4, which is 11. Then if I want to add my excess, it's not even up to the width of the shoulder and the sleeve. Okay, so in such cases, always work with the hip measurements. Okay, so I'll go ahead and input all my vertical measurements. For the length of the sleeve opening, I will use her bust point. Her bust point is at 13 and a half. Okay, I'll just make a line there. I'm trying not to use it too, you know, it's a customer's fabric, you don't want the chalk to be that visible, but just come with me, okay, and flow with me. For her waistline, her actual waistline, her front waistline is 19, while her back waistline is, the length of her waistline is 19 for front, and for the back is 16. So I will just settle in between both of them. I won't use 19, I won't use 16. I will just use around 17, 17 and a half when I'm making a free wear, but I still really need to maintain that waistline. So I will use 17 and a half for her, but let's just use 18, okay? Let's just use 18 because I'm going to impute my casing, my channel for my string to pass out, okay? I really don't need the hip measurement, okay? I really don't need the hip measurement. So at this part where there's 13 and a half, okay? I think I want to go up by 1 inch because I don't want the opening to be too much. But if you don't want the opening to be too much, at where the sleeve stops, remember her sleeve stops here, you take the person's round sleeve measurement, divide it by 2 and add +4, okay? But in her case, I will just go up by, this is the points we made here. In her case, I will just go up by 1 or 1.5, okay? Remember there will be no joining at the shoulder here, so I will just leave it at that and measure out now my 2-inch sewing allowance that I added. This will be for the passing of the turning of the sleeve, okay? My 2-inch allowance. So automatically we're working with 20, okay? We're working with 20. So from this 20 now, I want to come in, okay, for the excesses of the drawstring. I want to come in, or better still, if you know you don't want to go through this method, you can just go ahead and impute the person's waist measurement, which is the person's hip measurement, which is 11 for her. Her case is 44, so 11 for her plus 4 or plus 4 plus 5, okay? Let's say for instance this is it, and in total we're having 15. So from this 20, I'm choosing to come in by 4 inches. You can see it's almost at the same point which I said, okay? It's almost at the same point which I said. So maybe for her I'll just use 3.5 and 4, okay? So it's almost the same thing. Any which one you do will arrive at the same result. All I want is for the cloth to have a brushed feeling, so that by the time she gathers it with her drawstring, it would have that effect. So at this point, which is 16 and a half, I will take it all the way down. 16 and a half will be the width of this fabric now, from her bust point to the lower part. 16 and a half. So I will just quickly do that and come back to the V. The 16 and a half from this part all the way. So I cut. So but when I get to that part, I said I was going to go up by my bust point by 1.5, okay? So this is my 16 and a half. So at this point, remember this is the 20 something, so I'm going to make a curve, just a slight curve, so that the armhole or whatever it is can sit perfectly. I made a curve here, so I'm going to continue the cutting all the way into that curve, into the curve. Okay, so this is what I have. So this is what I have now. Okay, so what to do next now is to impute our neckline and impute the placement of the pockets and every other thing. So let's just quickly impute the neckline. So remember, this was placed in a form that there's no shoulder joining, so you have to be careful when you're making this part. So this is going to have a collar. This is going to have a collar, so you don't need the neckline to be too big. For her, I would use 3 inch for the wideness. She's a shoulder 8, so 3 inch for the wideness. For the back, I will use 1.2, 1.5 for the depth. Okay. For the depth, then I will merge all lines together. This is for the depth of the back. For the neck, for the depth of the front, I will use 3.5 or 4 for the neck depth. Okay, so I'll connect with my French curve. So remember, there's a thing like a keyhole a V keyhole for the front. Don't forget that. Let me just come down a bit for the neckline, half an inch for the front. Okay, I came down half an inch more, which is at 4 inches. Okay, so this is for the front, and we also have for the back. So for the keyhole, there's a keyhole in front, a V keyhole. I'll come down by 3.5 for her. So whatever it is you're doing, always ensure that it's not showing too much cleavage. So be careful. So everything I'm doing for the front is around 7.5, 8. By the time I'm done sewing it, it will be around 8 inches for the V. Okay, so I will make a curve from the depth I made. Sorry. There's a V there, so I will come out half an inch or 0.75. Okay, you don't want it to be too wide. Okay, then from that V, or let's just use 1 inch. From that V point on it, I'll come out to 1 inch from the neckline. It's a keyhole, please. It's a keyhole. So when I'm cutting, I will go from here, V, then I will go to the neckline. Then what you do next, first is cut out the back neckline. Please don't cut on the front neckline. See how it's folded. You don't want any shoulder joining. So I'll cut out the back neckline first before I move into the front neckline. So from this point, I want to measure out where the placement of the casing would pass. Okay, I want to use the same 18 and a half. Okay, so this is where the placement of whatever it is would be, the drawstring would be. Okay, so I'll just make a rule there so that I know that this is where the casing will pass. When I'm sewing, I'll make a notch at this part. Then for the pocket, the pocket should come down between 5.5 to 6 inches. Okay, 5.5 6 inches, and the difference on each side. So distance from each other is 10 inches. So that by the time she draws the drawstring, it will come together and you will see it. Okay, so this is where our pocket will be. And I think that mount is, for the length is 9. For the width is 7 inches. Not on fold. You're cutting in 2 details, one for this side, one for the other side. So you can cut on fold and slash it and open it for each side. Okay, so whatever you have for the pocket width will be the size of the pocket mount as well. So we know this is where the pocket will be from in the front, and this is where the placement of the string to pass through will be. So at the middle of this fabric, I will flip it to the right side so that we can see. At the middle of this fabric, it will be the black and white side. So on the leftover fabric, we have some pink side. Just to funklify it a bit, I think I will use that pink side and the wine side for the passing of the casing, so it will give us a different look on the waistline. So I'll go ahead and cut out the neck, the back neckline first, please don't forget. Okay, I've succeeded in cutting out the back neckline. Then you see this part of the sleeves, the midpoint of the shoulder. Please ensure to notch. It's very, very important. It's very, 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 very notched. Okay, so I will open up and cut out the front neckline. I'll open up and cut out the front neckline and separate them. It's all open up now. So see the notches, see the purpose of these notches. So I know this point is my shoulder part. Okay, so this is the back neckline I've taken out. So I'll proceed in cutting the front neckline. Please don't ever make that mistake of cutting the front neckline first. It's very, very detrimental. So I'll go ahead and cut out the V. I'll cut out the U. So let me cut out this part. So I'll go ahead now and cut a facing for this V, just the V. I'll cut out a facing for the V because this other part will have, from the back neckline, this other part will have a collar, a bishop collar on it. So I'll cut a facing for this V. Okay, I will do that quickly now. Fabric underneath the V, So this is it. It was part of the ones I brought out from the side. So I'm going to cut out the facing now. Please, whatever it is you're doing, your facing should be longer out by 4.5 inches to 5, so that it doesn't poke out by the time you're done sewing it. So I'll just quickly follow the shape and cut out the facing for it. I like to go a bit more so that you can augment with the side of the neckline when I'm done. Okay, so remember I said 4.5-5 inches should be the depth of our facing. So from this part I'll measure up. You can see it's almost the same thing. Okay, so I'll take whatever it is I have from this part into the neckline. So I will use this. I will add an interfacing to it first before I do any other thing. I'll add an interfacing to it and sew on just the V on the right side. When I sew the V, before doing that, when I add an interfacing, I will leave the edges of this facing, sew with 0.3 and flip to the wrong side, and with the help of my turning gun, I will hold it down. So that's it for the facing. Ahead and cut that strip. So this facing piece will appear in front by the time I'm done joining the sides together. I will sew it on the right side and not on the wrong side. So when I want to sew, the facing piece should be around 1.5. Yes, 1.5. 1.5 is fine. When you cut at 1.5 or 2 inches, then you fold in the half and half edges. You fold in the edges by half and half, put stay on it, iron it, and you sew it on top of that line which I measured. Okay, I will use this pink part so we can have some beauty added to it. Okay, I will also use I have for the length 12.5, and for the width I have 9 inches. So in all of this, by the time I'm done doing everything I'm doing, it should be around 9-inch depth, 7 inches width. Okay, because I'm going to fold on here. I'm going to fold, so I will not share to be my midpoint, so I know the parts that is going down. Okay, also I will create the pocket mouth also. The pocket mouth will be at the end when I'm done folding and ironing. Then I will get the pocket mouth that will fit the size of this. Okay, I will fit the size of this one. So when I'm done sewing the shoulders, sewing the sides, then I can now cut a collar for the neckline and pass in the casing for the width of the waistline. So